We woke up to a little bit of rain this morning and a beautiful rainbow over the ocean. Seen many rainbows in my days, but excuse me, the ones that come over the ocean, they're kind of special. This one comes all the way over. It's kind of hard to see, but into land as well. It ties in with something God's been showing me the last few days. We just got back to Baja from Oaxaca. And while I was down there, God was showing me something that He's shown me many times, but how your decisions affect your outcome. And we don't understand how when we do evil things, what happens in the spiritual world, how God views it and what He does, and also what Satan's doing, because it's like a big game being played between Satan and God. Until we come into understanding of the truth. And that's the biggest thing, is Satan is trying to keep us from understanding the truth, and Jesus is trying to tell us the truth, and we have to formulate, or we have the option, I should say, to formulate what we really want to believe. But in the end, the truth is the truth, and the only truth is with Jesus. And unless you hear Him and know Him and obey Him, you're not following the truth. You're following just another version of a lie. It's just a matter of how much of a lie. The closer we stay to the truth and practice the truth, the better our life will be, because in the end, the foundation of God is righteousness and justice. And the opposite is what the foundation of Satan is, and that is injustice and unrighteousness and unlawlessness and sin and death and darkness and evil. And the list can go on. But back to the point, and using the rainbow. The rainbow is a sign from God because of when He flooded the world with Noah. And the reason God flooded the world is, as we know, or should know if you know anything about the Bible, because the people living at that time were extremely evil. And God was sorry that He even created man. And the only man that was decent, that was a good man, was Noah. And so He had Noah build the ark, etc., and flooded the world, killed a bunch of people. And long story short, afterwards, God said, okay, I'll never do that again, and here's a sign of my promise, a rainbow. Here's the side of the story most people don't pay attention to. The reason why all those people died and suffered the way they did with the flooding was because of the decisions that they made up to that point. It wasn't some flash little decision that, I'm going to do this and bam, it happened. It was a series of things that happened over and over and over until the people paid the price. And life is like that. It's over and over and over. We do things and we get away with some of it for a while, but eventually it catches up with us. And the decisions we make is what affects the outcome every single time. As Jesus said in the Bible, you reap what you sow. If you're a Buddhist follower, it's more about karma, but it's the same thing. If you want to put it in layman's terms, it's what comes around goes around. But it's still the same thing. What you do and how you do it and with what kind of heart you do it with will dictate the outcome every time. So the closer you get to walking on the narrow path with Jesus, or if you get yourself to the point where you are walking on the narrow path with Jesus, then everything is done in righteousness and justice, not just for you, but excuse me, but for everyone. And that's where we need to get to. And if you do that, then everything will come good in your life. It doesn't mean you won't suffer. It doesn't mean you won't have setbacks. It doesn't mean people won't come and try to steal from you and do things to you. But keep in mind what we've talked about many times. God doesn't come in and make your life perfect when you decide you're going to be His. As a matter of fact, it's almost the opposite, because He allows Satan to test you and to turn the fire up 7 times hotter than normal, like He did with the Hebrew boys, and what He did with the story of Job. It's not that He doesn't stop those things, it's that He actually can allow them to increase so that He perfects you even more, because you're perfected in the fire. You're not perfected in an easy, simple life. So keep that in mind when the fires come and the trials and tribulations. And keep in mind that if you're not practicing righteousness, bad things are going to happen eventually. And those are not of God. Those are of Satan, and they're allowed by God to keep you in a certain amount of moral, I don't know what the right word would be, but morality. So, as always, seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and then everything else will be given to you.